Right, so let us start the session. So good afternoon once again, everyone. Yesterday we are talking about basics of Java or history of Java, I could say, and then we discussed about the buzzwords in Java. So buzzwords in Java we have discussed. Then we are going a little bit in depth of no Java, why Java, right? All those things. So today we'll see much more about the Java. Let me share my screen. Okay. Yes. As I said, Java is a combination of both C and C++. So basically, it is going to use the syntax of C, programming, and data of the object-oriented programming. That is object-oriented concepts. So Java, when you talk about Java, the major no, concepts or major principles we should remember is data abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. Data abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. So as already we have discussed few things here. So this is called data abstraction. So what we are doing here is we're just extracting the data from the object. Just extracting the data from the abstract object. Like say if I have a car, I could say like these are the headlights, these are the bumpers, radiator supports, header and nose panels, hoods, mirrors, right? So this is called abstract. So in Java, whenever you are developing a project, you can easily abstract the data. So what is meant by abstraction here? So you can easily extract the required information from the Java program. You can easily extract the required information from the Java program. Fine. So before go ahead and see object-oriented principles in depth, let us see first basic program of Java, how it is going to be. So this is a basic program of Java. As I said, so there will be one class, so which you need to mention, right? So as I suggested, most of the times we'll use class name as the program name. That is the best practice what we can do. And don't give program name as 1.java, 2.java, or abcd.java, svce.java. No. So what is this relevant program? Say for example, if I'm doing addition of two numbers, it should be addition.java. If I am doing multiplication of two numbers, it's multiplication.java. If I am finding out the radius of a circle, it is radius.java. Please don't give 1.java, 2.java, 3.java, all those things, right? So here, my suggestion is for the best practice, whatever program name you give the same thing as class name. Give the same thing as class name. So once you define the class, we are going to define one main method. So already I explained this, what is string, what is args, all those things. So public static void main string of arguments. String of arguments. So this is how we are going to call the main method in Java. This is how we are going to call the main method in Java. So if you want to print some statement, someone is waiting. All right. So if you want to print some statement, then you need to use the condition of instruction saying that system.out.println. Again, what happened? Okay. System.out.println. System.out.println when you want to print some statement. So this is how the basic programming in Java is going to be, right? So as I said, so every time the program should be saved with the .java extension. So once you save with the .java extension, then we are going to see the program. Let me just show you whether I have copied one program or not. I'll just check. Okay. So let me check first Java installed properly or not, because I will be removing sometimes and then adding. So how to check whether Java is installed or not? So go to command prompt. So go to command prompt for those who joined now. Last class when I explained this, if you are not there, please check now itself. Why I'm getting some reminders. Okay, no problem. So go to command prompt. So just clear this off. type Java C. So if Java is installed properly, class path is set, we should get some commands or some packages like this. Some packages like this. Now what I'm going to do is, let me see whether I have some programs. I just created some couple of programs last time. I don't know where I created. Yeah. So these are a couple of programs which I created. Now what I'm doing here is I'm just going to this particular folder. So E colon. So there I'm just having Java. Sorry, not Java. See here, what I'm doing now is I'm just taking one program. So let me just open this program. I don't know, something is happening. Yeah, sorry. So let me just open this program now. See, I suggest you to install Sublime Text in your laptops if you have laptop. So where you can do the coding. I mean, it is not IDE or something. Whichever programming you want to work with, you can easily work with the Sublime Text. So you can see here. So I'm writing first one class called Fibonacci example. I'm writing a class called Fibonacci example 1. Then I'm calling one main function. I'm calling the main function public static void main. Then I am declaring the variables n1 equals to 0, n2 equals to 1, n3 equals n3, I and count of 10. Count of 10. Now I'm going to print the value of n1 and n2. So how to print it? System.out.println or print n1 and n2. n1 and n2. I'm just giving some space for that. Right now I'm calling a for loop for I equals to 2, I less than count, I plus plus or plus plus pre-increment or post-increment. N3 equals to N1 plus N2. Why I am doing pre-increment? Because it's a Fibonacci series. You know the logic already. It is a Fibonacci series. So what is Fibonacci series says? Say for example, if my first two digits is 0 plus 1, then it should perform 0 plus 1 equals to 1. So then next one will become 1 plus 1 equals to 2. Next is 2 plus 1 equals to 3. Like this, it will continue, right? So I'm just taking the logic. Then I'm just printing the N3 value. N3 value. So plus is a operator which we are going to use when you want to print some value. Then N1 equals to N2, N2 equals to N3. I'm closing this for loop. I'm closing this particular for loop, and I'm also closing this main function. I'm closing the class. I'm just closing the class. Now I'm just going back to command prompt. So how to execute this? So as I said yesterday, first you need to compile it. So many are open. Let me just close it. I close main one. So 1 second. How to compile first? Java C program name.java. So I'm just copying the program name from here to avoid the confusion. Program name dot Java. If there is any errors, so it will show the errors. So now I'm just compiling that. So it is compiled now. So now we need to interpret it. So how to interpret? Java, right? Followed by program name. Don't put any .java anything. So when you first compile this file, there you are going to get your object code. So as I said yesterday, you are going to get the object code, that is your class file. You can see here. So if I open this class file, yeah. So you can see here for the Fibonacci series, there is some bytecode which is generated. So what does it mean? So once I take the Java program and when I do the compilation, so it is generating the bytecode. So once I take that, once I do the interpretation of that or execution or running of the Java program, then you are going to get the output. Then you are going to get the output. So now let us go back to my command prompt. Now I'm just going to execute this. So could not find or load main class in Fibonacci. So some error is coming. What is that error? Could not find main or load class. Sorry, find or load main class. So main class is there, but why it is showing some error? Same error. Let us see that. What is the error it is telling? Not able to find the main class, but it is there. It is there. Okay, let me check whether it is my system problem or this one. Let us try with this also. If it is coming some settings problem. Okay. All right. So some package issue is there. Otherwise, we will get the output. So later I'll check and I'll let you know. So means what I mean to say here is, so you need to save your program as .java. Then you run you write the entire code in that Java file. So then you complete the compilation of it using Java C command. Then you go with the Java, you will get the output. I'll show that. What is the error? I'll see that. Yeah. So that is what we are doing here. So write the program, do the compilation of that Java C program name .java. So when you do that, so .class file will get generated, which is a bytecode version of this program. Then we are going to call the Java virtual machine using the Java, and then we are going to execute this particular compiled file to get the output. So how to execute it? So you can execute it using the Java. So it is going to execute your program Java followed by the program name. Java followed by the program name. Then you will get the required output. You will get the required output. So let us see that later. What is the error and all? We'll see later. Right. So how to write the comment in Java? So it's very simple, as like you are seeing. So backslash star. So this is how we are going to write the comment in Java program. So if you want to write a comment, you can use this particular multi-line comment. You know, right? Single line comments and multi-line comments. So if it is single line comment, we'll use double backslash. If it is a multi-line comment, backslash star. Right? So comments will be ignored by the compiler. It is not going to consider. So most of the times where we'll include comments is program titles, authors, company names. If you want to explain the property of that particular statement, then we'll use the comments, right? Yeah. So Java supports multi-line comment, single line comment, documentation comment, multi-line comment, single comment, and documentation comment. So the multi-line comments, as we have seen previously, it will be backslash followed by the star. So when you have multiple lines, you want to make it as a comment line. So backslash followed by the star. So if you want to go with the single line comment, which starts with double backslash. Suppose if you want to go with the documentation comments. So if it is like full document, you want to say like he is the author, he is the one who wrote the program and all, then you can use this backslash star and ends with the stars and backslash, right? So this is a documentation. Documentation is nothing but if you want to say who wrote this program, what purpose they have written, so when it is going to be executed, when you are expecting the output. So that kind of documentation session you want to do, then you can go for the document comments. So this is how a class, so this already we discussed, but still just for reference, we are seeing that. So first you need to create a class followed by the class name, then open with the flower braces and close the flower braces. Within that you need to write the body. Within that you need to write the body. And one more thing you should remember is the difference in C++ programming. When you are writing the class, you should end with the semicolon, but Java no need to end with the semicolon. You no need to end with the semicolon. Yeah, so this is the main function. As I said, we have discussed already this one. What is meant by public, static, void, main, string, args. So the first one is public, which specifies the access specifier, right? So that means whether the given class members or variables, whether they are public or private. So what is the access specifier you want to mention, you can mention it. Then if the members are public, you can access anywhere. Outside the class also you can access. And most of the main functions in Java is public, because the Java allows platform independence. Java also allows network, what you call like portability. So when you want to use same program in multiple levels or multiple machines, for sure it should be a public. So main is going to be public in Java. You cannot make it private, all those things. It is public. If you want to make it, you can make it, but it is not going to be accessed outside the machine, right? So if then we are going to use the static method, so which is going to initiate the particular instantiation for particular instance in a Java program, right? So void main, you know, like what is void and all, you know, it does not return any value. So Java, as usual, like C++, you can have more than one class. There is no restriction in that. So Java compiler will, whichever is having main method. So first we'll write the main method, then followed by so many classes. Yes, you can write it, not a problem. So Java compiler first will run all the classes individually, right? So so if there is no main method, then it is going to be an error as usual, like your C programming. And string of args declares the parameter named arguments, which is like array of store, calculating the number of arguments in the program, right? And number of strings. These are all very basics. So let us go a little fast. Already I explained, so that's why I'm just going little fast with respect to main method. Right. So next, so whenever you want to print something in Java, you need to use system.out.println. System.out.println. Please make sure that here you need to understand. So S should be capital. So remaining will be small, right? So when you want to print some instruction, you can use system.out.println, or you can also use print. You can also use print. So when you use println, the cursor will come to the next line. When you use print, cursor will remain in the same line. That's it. That is the difference. Right. So system is the class which we are going to use. Out is the object. Println is the method. System is the class which we are going to use. Out is the object. For this class, this is the object and this is the function. So if as we have seen library programming, right, in C++. So someone might have written class called system. Within that they call the object as out, and println is the function. We are using that. That's why we are going to import the package called import java.io.star. In import java.io.star, this function is written. To access this function, I required an object. What is object here? Out is the object. So which class it belongs to? System class, right? So hope you are understanding what I'm telling. It's not a Greek and Latin. Let me just show you. Yeah. See what we are doing basically is, so whenever you do some activity, first you need to write the class. So within that, we are going to write all the functionalities, functions, right? So in order to access this function, we require an object. Say for example, if I am creating a class called ISC. So within ISC, I am calling function called read. I am defining a read function. And I'm closing it. To access this read, I'm creating an object ISC call. Call is the object. So tomorrow, if someone wants to access this, what they can do, import java.io.isc. Import java.isc actually. So they can import the ISC package. So what they can do, this read function, they can use it directly. Likewise, here we have a class called in that system print or println or the functions, it has its own key to perform. Then out is the class. So system out is the class. So that's why we are using system dot out dot print. So why I'm showing this one is, tomorrow if you want to create your own class, right, and you want to give that class to the public use, what you need to do, first you need to create the class. Within that class, whatever functionalities you want to make it, you make it. Say for example, I'm creating a class called SVCE. In SVCE, I'm writing the functionalities like reading the student details, finding the fee structure, right? Reading the parent details, reading the faculty details. These are the different functions. And I'm going to use an object called SVCE class. Object is read. Object is read. So tomorrow, if someone want to access all this data, what they can do is they can call the package like import java.svce. Import java.svce. Now they can access all these functions. For their purpose, right? Like when you import math class, how you are going to use square root. So likewise, you can also create your own header files, your own functions, and which you can give it to the public. What is meant by public? The other programmers, right? So that is the reason I'm explaining this. System is a class, out is the object, println is the function. So in our case, SVCE is the class, read is the object, read student data is the function. So that means, so how it is going to look like? So SVCE dot read student details. So like this the function is going to look. So within this, so whatever data you want to write, you can write it and you can make use of it. So you got the idea how to create one class and how to create one object and how you can make it to the other programmers. So that is how it looks like. So let me just go to Java installation just to show you all these things. So let me just go to Java installation. So where Java is installed, Java. Now I'll go to JDK. I'll go to library. So within this library, not library, let me go to bin. Yes. So let me go to bin here. You can see these are all the few applications which are already written, which we can make use of it. So from this, you can extract the functionalities. Actually, we can also see the packages. I don't know why it is not showing for me. I'll just show you 1 second. These are all the executable jar files. Usually it will be available in library. I don't know, I'm not getting all the libraries. That is the problem. Yeah. Like this, it will be written actually. So I don't know, somewhere it is missing. Fine, I'll show in the next class. I'll just reinstall my entire Java once again. Then I'll try to find out where it is missing. That is the reason program is also not getting executed properly. So in the next class, we will see how it is going to be written, right? So hope everyone understood how to create one class, object, and also the function. So that is what explained here. So I thought of showing this slide in the real time. So it is not there. So I'll show you in the next class. All right. So now, so this is another program which you can see here. So as usual, we are taking the class, then we are taking the main function followed by the variable declaration. Then we are printing the number value. So whenever you want to print the value, you need to take the plus symbol. So it is going to fetch the value of this variable, fetch the value of that particular variable. Then we are going to print the final output. So when you need to take this plus symbol is when you have some statement followed by the value. Suppose if you have directly this value, directly you can write system.out.println of NUM, system.out.println of NUM, right? But see, the problem here is the major problem in Java is reading the input from the user. See, usually what we will do in C programming. So if you want to read the input from the user, directly you'll say like printf enter the variable a value, scanf %d ampersand a, scanf %d ampersand a. But here, if you want to do that, you need to take the buffer readers. You need to take the buffer readers. Then only you can do that, right? So that we will see in the coming slides. So please go through this program. Any doubt is there, you can ask. I'll just pause for a minute. You can see the program and then ask me any question. Yes. So let me just go back to the program. So you can see here. So this is how the Java program will be written. So these are the very basic programs. I'm not going in depth of it. So later we'll see in depth of the programs. These are the how basic declaration is going to be, how the println statement is going to work, right? So as I mentioned, so plus is the operator which you can join with the variable. So when you want to print in the statement, when you want to print in the statement. So when you have only string variable, directly you can print in the double quotes. And if statement, it is as usual like your C programming, there is no difference. If condition, sorry, if initialization, condition, increment or decrement, increment or decrement, right? You can see here. So if x less than y, so print something. If x equals to equal y, you print something. If so sorry, I'm just confused. I'm telling for if is the condition statement, right? So only condition we are going to write, not the first statement. I'm telling increment, decrement or initialization, that is for the for. So if is like a regular condition statement like in your C programming, conditional statement like in your C programming. So you can also use the if in Java. So as like your C programming. So if x less than y, so what do you want to print? If x equals to y, what do you want to print? If x is greater than y, what do you want to print? X equals to y, what do you want to print? Like, so whenever you want to do multiple declaration, I mean, whenever you want to use multiple if statements, so you can start using it, right? So now what is going to happen is, if you see the conditions, so this condition, this condition, and this condition, so it is going to execute step by step. It's going to execute step by step. So when you want to do the Java programming, it is always suggested that, say for example, if I am writing some if condition, not only Java programming, in any programming, including C programming, if x equals to y, start the floor braces, write whatever code you want to write it here, right? So write the code here. So write your code here, then you do the closing of it. So if x is greater than y, so there also you write it and then do the. What I mean to say is, to make a best program or better program, it is always suggestible to write individual coding blocks. What is meant by individual coding blocks? If you are writing a if condition, after if condition, open the floor braces and then write the code and close the floor braces. If you are writing a for loop, open the floor braces, write the code and then close it. So when you make it individual codes or individual blocks, so tomorrow if someone is using your program, there won't be any kind of confusion. There won't be any kind of confusion, right? So here, this is not actually the best practice what we are seeing. So for every individual if condition, so it is suggestible to go with the floor braces, right? So of course you will get the output. There is no doubt about it. But still, it is the best practice. Yeah. So this is what I got confused and I said in the last slide. So for loop is as usual, initialization, condition, iteration, right? And followed by the statements like either you can increment or decrement, etc., etc. See here, for x equals to 0, x less than 10, x equals to x plus 1. So we are incrementing the x value by 1, or you can also say x plus plus, right? So this is the program for loop. See, I'm going just little fast for all these things. So again, we'll see all these things step by step when we go for the programming. So that's why I'm just going little fast, and it is similar to your C programming. It is similar to your C programming. When I execute program, I'll show you. This is what I'm telling. So wherever you are doing some coding activity, try to build the blocks. Write the condition, open the floor braces, write whatever logic you want to write, and close it. So this is called blocks. This is called blocks or block of code block, whatever you call it, right? So when you prepare this like this, then the confusion won't be there. So it will be easy to link between the multiple blocks. It will be easy to link between the multiple blocks. Right, now you can see here the difference. So we have called the main method, we have declared something, then we started with the for loop. So after for loop, we started with the floor braces. So till this code get completed, after that we wrote the closing of the floor braces, then completing your class floor braces, then main floor braces, then class floor braces, right? So like this you should do. Yes,
you said you need not to use semicolons here.
Where? For class you no need to use. See, in C++ what we are doing, for the class opening floor braces we are writing. Wherever class is getting closed, we are putting the semicolon. I'm telling for class, not for the statements. Statements you should use only for the class. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Yeah. See, again, I'm just making very clear. It is syntax is similar to your C programming. That is the reason I stressed that point twice or thrice. Syntax is similar to C programming. Only the features will be extracted from C++. Only the features are extracted from C++. And when I say similar to C programming, how you are writing C programming, like for every statement will end with the semicolon. Yes, here also every statement will end with the semicolon. After that, so for loop. So how you are writing for loop in C programming, same way you are writing for loop here also, right? And how you are declaring variables, so you are declaring variables same like that. So there are few modifications in the syntax. There we are calling as printf, here we are calling it as system.out.println. So what is the difference? I said in C++, whenever we are writing the program, after completing the class, we are going to put the semicolon for the floor braces, closing floor braces. So that is not required in Java. That is not required in Java. The remaining statements remain same as like your C. So these lexical issues I'm not going to talk now. So in the next class I'm going to talk about lexical issues, all those things. So these are the very basics of Java programming where you can use as it is like your C, as it is like your C. So there is no much difference. So again, I'm just repeating for all others purpose. So first thing you should remember the key points with respect to Java is remember that Java follows the syntax of C. Java follows the clear syntax of C programming. So whatever the default conditions are there, it is applicable to Java. So every statement should end with the semicolon, right? And there should be main function. Without main function, you cannot execute the Java program. You cannot execute the Java program. Third thing you should remember is in the previous example when I executed, though main function is there, because my Java is not properly installed or properly class path is not set, I'll get the error. So what does it mean? Once you install the Java, installation is not only the criteria. Once you install the Java, you should set the class path properly. You should set the class path properly. Otherwise, we are going to get into the trouble like what we have seen now. And Java should be installed properly. So that's where I'm not able to see the packages. That's where I'm getting the error. So those who are going to install Java in your machines, make sure that Java is getting installed properly. How to check? So checking is very easy. Go to command prompt Java, see Java, you will get it. But once you execute any one program, then you come to know if there is any system errors or installation errors, right? Then coming to the execution part, first you need to compile the Java program. So how we are going to compile? Using Java C. Using Java C, we are going to compile the Java programs. And once it is compiled, we are going to get the bytecode. I have showed you how the bytecode is. So that is the system understandable format of the language or the program which you have written. So once you get the bytecode, it will be executed further or it will be interpreted further to get the final executable file. So that will be done with the Java. So who is going to help for all these things? So Java virtual machine is going to help us. Java virtual machine is going to help us. So the Java virtual machine will be there, and also it is also called as JRE. You can see here. So he is the one who is going to help us. JRE is nothing but Java runtime environment. Java runtime environment. So this Java runtime environment will take the class file, will execute it, and will give us the final output. What is required from the particular program? What is required from the particular program? And coming to Java, so variable declaration is same as it is like your C programming. If condition, for loops, while loops, do while loop, all are same. So there is no huge difference. So all are same. So the only difference is here we are also going to use one more for loop called for each. For each loop we are going to use. So what is that for each loop we will see later. And the best part of Java is suppose if you want to create one header file. Suppose if you want to create one header file in C programming, you need to do so much of circus. Say for example, you have a header file called stdio.h. Like stdio.h, tomorrow if you want to prepare one svcio.h, then you will need to do so much of circus where you need to talk to your compiler, all those things. Whereas in Java, as Java is also open source, right? As all of you know, it is an open source language, so no need to buy any license and all. So you can directly prepare one class, declare one object to access that class and write all the functionalities which can be included into your packages, Same can be given to the next version of Java. See how usually how it is going to work is, as it is open source, there is community, Java community, where you can join to Java community. You write your own class, your own functionalities and objects. You upload your Java class and object to the what you call Java community. If everyone feels that yes, this particular package is very useful, they will upload that one to the Java portal. In Java portal, suppose tomorrow if I'm installing the next version, maybe 1.9 or 2.0, that time I'm going to get the functionality which you have added, So that is where Java is growing day by day. If you want to do same thing in C programming, It will take a lot of time and it requires so much of effort, which is reduced in Java programming. Same thing with Python also. In Python also, you can include your own functionalities as a programmer and you can get it approved from the community, and then you can upload it in for the next version or next release of the programming language, right? So this is the best part of it. So to show that, I have explained you very simple example, system.out.println. So system is the class, out is the object, print is the function. Print is the function. So whenever we are going to write some functionality for a class using some object, which can be accessed like this. How to access it? Class name, dot operator, followed by the object, dot operator, followed by the function name. Class name, dot operator, followed by the object name, dot operator, followed by the function name. Within the function, parameters. Within the function, parameters we are going to give, right? So this is about the very basics of Java programming. So the error which I got today, I'll rectify it by tomorrow. I'll reinstall my Java and I'll show you how to execute your Java programs without any restrictions, without any problem. And also we are going to show, we are going to discuss much more in depth of the Java program in the next. So thanks for joining the class. So in next class, we are going to study in depth of or much more concepts of the Java. Thank you.